knows me knows that I love Disney. And the thing is, I never had a choice in coming to love Disney. Growing up, my mom's nickname in high school was Snow White, and when my dad was working in Anaheim, he would spend his lunch breaks at Disneyland. Like, he would just clock out, run over to Disney, hop in, ride some rides, and then go right back to work and clock back in. And one of my dad's favorite things that he ever did was when I was little, he convinced me that his real name was Goofy. My family would put me in a circle, and this is what they do. All right, Jessie, what's your mom's name?
Linda.
Good. What's your other mom's name?
Teresa.
Good. And what's your dad's name?
Goofy.
And that was my dad's favorite thing for years until, unfortunately, a family member kind of came along and ruined it by saying, that's not your dad's real name. His real name's this. But it's okay because I have a cousin who, to this day, even though she's in college, still calls my dad Uncle Goofy, so he got to keep the name. My mom worked as a preschool teacher for about 10 years. She taught 3-year-olds primarily. And one day, shortly after the movie Mulan came out, the animated one of her little girls walked into her classroom with her mom with her hair looking crazy. And my mom looked to the little girl's mom and said, "Oh dear, did someone try cutting her own hair?" And the mom said, "Yeah, she watched Mulan." And my mom was just like, uh-oh. So she decided to cut her hair after seeing Mulan cut her hair in the movie. And the mom was just like, I should have never let her watch it. And meanwhile, this little 3-year-old is like,
Hee, I look like Mulan now.
So fun fact about me, I have 3 parents. I have a dad, a mom, and a bonus mom, otherwise known as a stepmom, but I don't like that word, so I use bonus mom instead. So my dad and my mom divorced before I was even 2 years old, so my bonus mom has always been a big part of my life, and without the 3 of them, I know I wouldn't be the person I am today. I actually came up with an analogy to describe how they've all kind of come together and made me who I am, and I like to call it the cupcake. So my bonus mom is the actual cake itself of the cupcake. She taught me to be sturdy and reliable, and basically what you see is what you're gonna get. My mom is 10 layers of frosting on top of that cupcake, okay? She is the sweetest woman you will ever meet, and she taught me to always be sweet and kind to everyone, my friends, my family, and even strangers on the street. And my dad is definitely the sprinkles or the nuts or whatever eccentric topping you could think of to put on top of that cupcake. He definitely taught me that not everything in life has to be serious, and you can always have some fun with everything, even if it's not always at the most appropriate times. So I like to think that I took all the best aspects of my parents and made it into me. So I used to hate plaid flannel with a burning passion, and as we can see, that's not exactly the case anymore. But no one has found this newest fashion development as hilarious as my parents, who every time I go over to see them are like, "So, you're wearing the flannel again?" I'm like, "Yeah." But on Christmas, my dad said, "Oh yeah, I was gonna get you this flannel from the Star Wars store, but then I saw that it had a stormtrooper on the back and it said Crush the Rebellion, and I know that you're part of the rebellion, so..." And I just looked at him and I was like, "Dad, don't you know I swing for both sides?" Which had my bonus mom going, "Okay," and my dad bursting out laughing. And then I couldn't help but notice that on the 26th, they left to go somewhere and I couldn't possibly know where they went. And then lo and behold, when I opened my birthday present, this beauty was inside. Oh my goodness. Wait, I need my tripod so I can show the back. So I think the moral of the story here is, flannel knows no sides. So growing up, my dad did what I expect a lot of parents do and talked about himself in the third person when he was talking to me. This is a quick example. He would say something like, "Yeah, so your dad needs to go and fly over for this business trip, but then your dad's gonna be home in about a week." And that was fine when I was a little kid, but once I hit about middle school, I finally looked at him and I was like, "Dad, I know you're talking about you. You can stop talking about yourself in third person." But habits are very hard to break, and he kept talking about himself in the third person. So finally, I looked at him and I said, "Hey, let's make a deal. How about this? Every time you refer to yourself in the third person, you owe me $1. And he said, "Okay, you're on." And it worked. Every single time he referred to himself in third person, I said, "Pay up, Dad." And finally, he was just like, "Man, this girl's costing me money." I'm pretty sure I only made like $10 off of him, but I got him to kick the habit, and that was what mattered. So a little fun fact about me, I love reptiles and amphibians. I was a kid that was always chasing and catching lizards and frogs, and I still want my own pet snake. I just don't have the space for one, but I would love a little hognose. They're just so cute. And the thing is, my Aunt Jana hates frogs and reptiles and all sorts of little creatures. And she made the brilliant decision to move next to a pond in Florida. Now, she'd moved to this house because she wanted to be closer to us, and we'd warned her like, "Hey, you're gonna get a lot of little creepy crawlies because you're so close to this pond." And she was like, "It's gonna be fine. Yeah, spoiler alert, it was not fine. One night, my bonus mom gets a call and I can hear my aunt hysterically shrieking about a frog, and I'm like, can I please go catch it? And my bonus mom's just like, go ahead. I run over to her house thinking I'm gonna see this gigantic frog and it's gonna be the best thing ever, and it's a tree frog, probably the size of a quarter. Girl. I still caught and released it, but I was like, ugh. So growing up, my dad and my bonus mom told me that if I ever needed help, all I needed to do was ask for help. Don't throw a tantrum, don't cry, just ask for help. And they said that no matter where they were or what they were doing, if I asked for help, they would come help me. Well, one day my bonus mom is sitting on the couch, and that couch was the prime viewing spot to watch the TV at, and she hears me from my room go, I need help! So she gets up and comes into my room and is like, what's wrong? What do you need? And I look at her, and I grin, and I giggle, and I run past her and fling myself onto the couch. Cause in my house, if a butt left a seat and another butt came and claimed it, then that butt got to keep it. And my bonus mom comes outside, looks at me as I wiggle onto the couch like, hee hee hee, and she's like, you know what? Okay. This was a well thought out plan, well executed. She can keep the couch. This time. So I got to watch TV on the best spot on the couch. So say what you will about the zodiac and how it's all made up and how we shouldn't put too much stock in it, but the workaholic Capricorn stereotype certainly applies to me. And one of the best examples I can give is that when I was a kid, my dad and bonus mom hosted a cookout with all of their friends, and it was a fairly large party, and I found an opportunity to make some money. There was a cooler at this party that had one of those little attachments where you could take the beer and, pop off the lid from it. And I thought this was extremely fun. But obviously, since I was probably like 6 years old, I wasn't allowed to have beers. But of course, there were a bunch of adults who could drink beer, and I would go up to them and ask, hey, could I pop the lid off your beer for you? And one of these adults made the fatal mistake of giving me a tip for doing this. To which, of course, my reaction was, I can make money? So then, of course, I went to every adult and asked them if I could open their beers for them too, and then I started playing hostess and started getting beers for the adults. And my parents finally put a stop to it whenever our guests were getting a little too sloshed. But boy, that night did I make it rain.